There is a time in everyone's federal prison sentence when you recognize time is running out. I am actually going to get released and I'm going to go home. When you're fighting a case for so long and you're obsessing about getting the shortest sentence and then what would life be like in a minimum security camp, it's very hard to imagine life on the other side. But when I was in prison for a few months, it hit me and I ran back to my cubicle scared because I realized and recognized, wow, I'm going home soon. And I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do to sustain myself, pay my restitution, and eventually support a family. This isn't great. I want to help all of you. What was my aha moment? Well, I had many of them. Well, there should have been many obvious aha moments in the first 3 months of my federal prison sentence, but I chose to ignore them. I chose to pretend it wasn't happening, that everything was going to be good on the other side of prison boundaries, that some of the problems that relate to other prisoners, what I was seeing going on around me, wasn't going to happen to me because I'm Justin and I'm different and I'm unique and special. Apparently, I wasn't unique, I wasn't special, and all of the problems that were following for other prisoners, of course, were going to follow for me because I was acting, what's the word us Jews like to say, like a schmuck. I was foolish and I was naive, and I was very thankful to have found a mentor. So what was this aha moment? When I knew the end was coming and I better get my act together. So like many new prisoners, I adjusted with exercise. As I've written previously in Lessons from Prison, I'm out of the book, so pretend this says Lessons from Prison. I should have my own book, Lessons from, okay, pretend this is Lessons from Prison. You can still get the book for free at Lessons at White Collar Advice. So like so many dudes in prison, I had adjusted by exercise because I went to prison a big, fat, bloated pig. All I did was eat, 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 and then I ate more before I surrendered to federal prison. So I wanted to get into better shape when I went in, and I did. But 6 hours a day exercising. I mean, it was like a fat farm, okay? 6-7 hours a day with my good friend Andrew Alchek, God rest his soul. He died on the track March 21st, 2010. A lot of exercise. Then some walking around the track, hanging out in the library, and not really working on tasks that would help me live a productive life on the other side of prison boundaries. Now, I would have been critical of people who watch TV all day. Like, what are they doing? They watch TV all day. I was no different from them. I might have been channeling my efforts towards exercise, but I wasn't really working on things that were going to help me prepare to come home. And it really hit me one day when my now business partner, Michael Santos, asked me some very difficult questions that we articulate in Lessons from Prison. So I was in his cubicle and I was, what's the right word for it? I was showing off. My dude, I'm in great shape. I just ran 10 miles. I feel the six pack coming back. First time since USC baseball. By the way, February 4th on a Sunday, I'll be playing in the annual alumni game at USC. Last year I played. I was injured for 17 days, but I do it for the young kids who like to see me play baseball, but the right shoulder couldn't move it for 17 days. So I'm in his cubicle. Now I'm in the greatest shape ever. This is fantastic. The prison is fantastic. It's so great. Then Michael said to me, hey, bud, let me ask you a question. I'm like, ask away. He said, how much are people going to pay you when you go home to do those pull-ups? And I said, I don't really understand the question. Knowing, of course, I understood the question, but I have this gift. My mom and now wife tells me to play dumb beautifully. Like I have no idea what's taking place or transpiring. But I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, the pull-ups you keep talking about, because you keep like kind of flexing, it looks weird and odd, like you're in prison. But like, okay, like what are you doing? How much are people going to pay you to do those pull-ups? And he said it like 4 times. And I said, I don't think anyone's going to pay me to do those pull-ups. He said, I have another question for you. You're running 10 miles, good clip, was like 7.5-minute mile. I'm like, dude, please. Summer 7:15. I'm not going to let you insult my running time. I track every mile. In fact, they're tracked here in my diary that I hang in my office. Please don't insult me to 7:30 time. It was 7:15. Please. It's like, great. How much are people going to pay you to run those miles in prison? Or when you're out of prison, how much is that going to pay? And I said, I'm not quite sure anyone's going to pay me to run miles or do pull-ups. And then he said, I encourage you for the next few weeks, one, to get off your high horse because you're no different from anybody here. And you might think because you exercise all day and you might not complain or watch TV that you're different, but you're not. You're expecting a life on the other side that isn't realistic. You're not preparing for it. You're not documenting it. You're not proving why you're worthy of opportunities that await you on the other side. What are you going to do? Just call in a favor? Because you were a one-time rich kid who went to USC and you're just going to call in a favor, but you haven't earned it? Is that the life you want? Or do you want to nurture a network, prove worthy of the love and support of your family, demonstrate how you will emerge stronger with your dignity and a plan? Any choice. It's your choice. I want to help you. I like you. We're friends. But I've been doing this for 22 years, deliberate, building my release plan, showing why I'm worthy of opportunities. You've been here 3 months. You don't seem to grasp the message. Your choice. Whatever you want to do, I'll support you. Own it. Live your life. I said, what do you suggest I do next? Just observe. He said, I want you to observe how too many prisoners spend their time. And you notice some of those prisoners are scared to go home? Now, you think the prisoner's scared to go home. You like the activity with the movement and the hands today? You might think the prisoners that are scared to go home, you might think of the character like Red from Shawshank Redemption, who served 30 or 40 years. He's unable to function in the modern world. It wasn't those guys. It's like the doctor and dentist and lawyer and businessman serving 2 or 3 years for a white-collar crime who are turning down halfway house time, or who are taking the halfway house time, but they are scared to death about what awaits them. They are turning down visits with their wife and children because they can't answer questions from their wife and kids like, so hey bud, you're in pretty good shape. What do you do here all day? How are you going to support us when you come home? Some guys didn't want to answer that question. It's why they wouldn't go to visit. It's why some turned it down. Now, I was fortunate. Part of the reason my experience was easier because I was 33. Just turned 48 yesterday, by the way. I was 33. I wasn't married. I didn't have children. So it was easier for me to endure this experience without them, but it didn't change that I didn't want to call in favors. And if I was offered an opportunity, I wanted to prove worthy of it. So I did begin to observe and study and recognize how many dudes were scared to go home. They weren't prepared. And then when they weren't prepared, they defaulted to the obvious cliche, hey man, there ain't no life for us on the other side. We're a convicted felon. Or I'm going to start preparing when I have 6 months to the door. Prison parlance or vernacular too. I'll start preparing when I have 6 months to the halfway house. So this aha moment for me, when I recognized that my time in federal prison was running out, came several months into my federal prison term as articulated in Lessons from Prison, when I had this aha moment with my now business partner, Michael Santos. And from then on, it was all in effort trying to catch up for the 3 months that I wasted other than exercise. It was an all-in effort to document and prepare for the next journey of my life. And of course, that started with building my release plan by way of the blog at justinmaperney.com. Through the success of the blog, it was the harbinger for Lessons from Prison, a book what we wrote, and was published a week before my release, May 30th, 2009. And then with dignity and self-esteem, because at least for the last 10 months of my prison term, I did the work with dignity and self-esteem and feeling as if I was capable and had the skill set to begin working in this business, even though I was still very naive when I got out of prison. The self-esteem enabled me to hit the streets quickly upon my release from prison. And that's how I'm going to close this video. When I was released from federal prison that first day, with my pass from Isaiah Murrow, good dude in the halfway house, he approved it with the case manager, I hit the streets of cold walking through law offices to downtown Los Angeles with my book, Pretend This is Lessons from Prison, cold walking into law offices, getting thrown out, getting embarrassed, you don't have an appointment. Some people have asked, like, what was your shtick? What did you say? And if a lawyer would see me, I would say something akin to, I don't know if this is the right fit for you and your clients. And I know you're very busy. I hate to bother you, but I was just released from federal prison. And I wrote a book there that could be of value to your clients. I sure know it would have helped me when I was a defendant and I was scared and vulnerable. May I leave 3 copies of the book with you? Surprised how many lawyers took it, including wonderful lawyers like Alan Eisner and Mark Worksman, with whom I have worked for more than 13 or 14 years by way of cold walking. But I never would have been able to have the courage to do that cold walk and to peddle this book, trying to give it away, unless I felt I developed the skill set, unless I was ready. And it all started from that cubicle with Michael Santos in prison when he asked me, how much are people going to pay you to do those pull-ups and run those laps? That was the aha moment. I want all of you to have your aha moment. I don't want you to wait till you're 3 months in. I don't wait till you got 6 months left to the halfway house. I don't wait till it's like, oh my goodness, I'm going home in 3 weeks. What am I going to do? I want it to start before you go to prison. Create the reentry plan, document it. What have you learned? What are the plans? Why are you never going to return to another courtroom? How are you growing your network? What does your post-sentencing narrative look like? Build, grow it, document it, share it with case managers, share it with a probation officer, share it with people in your network, as I began to do several months into my federal prison term in 2008. I just wish I had done it sooner. All of you are going to recognize this experience is ending. I can't believe it. It's ending. I'm going home. I've been fighting my case for so long. The next question follows. Are you ready? Are you going to call in a favor and ask for a job, live on your brother's couch because it's too hard to look for a job you think is beneath your skill set? Or are you going to build and develop and grow and document it and develop self-esteem, confidence in the process, and emerge with dignity and a plan? I wanted to share this story. Hope you find value in it. And I'll be back soon. Goodbye. I didn't need to whisper there at the end. That was for like effect. There was really no need to whisper there at the end. I'm just trying to close differently. There was no need for it.